Hey there, underwater video enthusiasts. This is Matthias from Zurich.
And I'm James in Miami.
Welcome back to another episode of Across the Ocean, the YouTube show for underwater image making enthusiasts. It's a pleasure to welcome James again here for today's show. How are you, buddy? What's been happening over there on the other side?
Hey, buddy. Doing great, thanks, man. Yeah, super busy with students at the moment, but always a pleasure to speak to you and to record these episodes. This is going to be a banger, I can tell.
I'm sure it will be. So in today's episode, we want to talk about our upcoming group trip to Indonesia. We kind of want to talk to you about what excites us most about going to Indonesia. Also kind of in connection to our individual experiences that we've already have had with Indonesia. Because I know that you've spent some time in Indonesia. I've spent some time in Indonesia, but for me it's always great going back. And today we want to take that episode to talk a little bit about why it's great for us to go back to this part of the world and what we're looking forward to most. So without any further ado, James, what are your experiences with Indonesia? Like, have you ever lived there? Have you been there? Have you dived there? Enlighten us a little bit.
Yeah, so the first time I went to Indonesia was as a merchant mariner, as a sailor, and I didn't get to do any diving at all. We came in and out of the port of Jakarta, and that was like my first taste of proper Indonesian food in Indonesia. I think we were there for like 3 days. That doesn't count. There was no diving. It wasn't recreational. It was what it was. But it planted the seed of like, oh, this is a cool country. I didn't get to see very much of it. I want to come back someday. That was enough. That was enough to do that. So then when I was already a rescue diver, recreational diver, and decided I wanted to go for my dive master, you know how it works when you work on ships is you work for 4 or 6 months at a time, and then you have 2 or 3 months off. Well, you have 2 or 3 months off, you've just worked, you've got a whole bunch of money, and you're like, okay, well, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to get my dive master done. And Indonesia, I think I signed off a ship in Singapore, and so I'm in Southeast Asia, and I'm thinking, okay, well, Thailand's right there, Philippines, Indonesia, all great diving locations. And I found a dive center that would take me as a dive master intern that was brand new. The paint was still wet on the walls, and that was in the Gili Islands. So a friend of mine who I worked with on the ships, who was Indonesian, who was from Jakarta, had family in Bali. So I flew to Bali, hung out with him and his cousins, did Bali. He wasn't a diver, so we didn't actually do any diving, but we did a whole bunch of land stuff. We went to Ubud. We, saw theatrical productions there. We did the whole, walking through the monkey jungle, and just some beautiful hikes. We did a little bit of rafting, which was quite funny because there was it was the dry season, so there was that much water in the river. It was basically just paddling a bathtub. It wasn't what I would consider rafting. It was very funny. And he took us to all the non-touristy restaurants in Bali, and we just ate and drank and had a fantastic time. And then after, I think it was about 10 days with him in Bali, I went out to Gili Trawangan, Gili T as it's known, one of the 3 Gili islands between Bali and Lombok, to meet up with this dive center that was Italian owned, all European staff. They had a couple of Brits on their staff there, and I was there for I think 6 weeks doing my dive master internship. Qualified as a dive master in Indonesia, and then I think I did 2 weeks of guiding for them afterwards. And I have very fond memories of that because I was living in a really comfortable bungalow, going for curry every lunch in a paper cone with the beautiful aromatic rice, and just eating that for lunch every day, and then going out diving in the afternoon and leading a night dive. And it was just a really, really beautiful memory for me. And then the only other time I've been in Indonesia was a 1 week liveaboard in Raja Ampat. The diving was incredible. The liveaboard, which I will not name, was less so, I would say. But I have fond memories of the diving there. So I'm excited for this because I never actually got to dive Bali, and I've never dived or been to Komodo before. So I'm very excited for that for those reasons. You have spent and dived a considerable amount in Bali itself, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because that's actually how I got to know Indonesia in the first place. It was through Bali, because while I was in my scuba instructor career phase, the last destination that I spent some considerable time at was Bali. That was a year that I spent in Bali working for a small German dive center, a dive resort actually, up on the northeastern coast, very close to the resort that we'll be staying at this time. And I just fell in love with the island, with the people, with just basically anything that Bali has to offer from like the very first day. I really loved every single day that I spent on Bali, and I was able to dive there. And I've been back to Bali quite a few times since. I think I've been back like 4 or 5 times since then. But I've also been to other parts of Indonesia, because after I returned back to Switzerland, I started working for a dive tour operator, and obviously selling dive trips to our customers, I needed to also go and scout these locations and the resorts and the liveaboards, and so that I know what I'm selling to our customers.
That sounds like a hard life.
It was, yeah. I mean, people always say it's like a vacation, but it's not. It's actually work. It's just very pleasant work, but it's still work, you know? But during that time, I was able to spend some time in the Gili Islands. I did a trip to Komodo. I was in North Sulawesi, close to Manado, and then I did the Lembeh Strait as well. And I've also been to Raja Ampat, not on a liveaboard, but resort based. I was doing some promotional work for one of the resorts that I know the owner of that resort personally. I was doing some promotional work for them a few years back. So I have got a fair bit of experience when we talk about diving in Indonesia, not just Bali, but other regions in Indonesia as well. And nevertheless, even though I've been there quite a bit and I've done quite a few dives in the Indonesian waters, I always come back very happily to this area of the world, because I think it still has some of the world's best diving. And it just makes me very happy that we're going back to this place very soon. In fact, in 1 month time, both of us will be leaving Miami and Zurich respectively on our way to Denpasar, and I can't wait to get to the resort there and to jump into the water on the following days. That's gonna be absolutely fantastic. Right, so having talked a little bit about our backgrounds when it comes to Indonesia, what are you looking forward to most? Like, we've both picked out 3 things that we look forward to most. What is your first pick, James? What is one of those 3 things that you can't wait to have again when you get to Indonesia?
Well, I mean, obviously you have a ton more experience than I do in Bali itself. And like I said, I never got to dive Bali before. But probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most,
you're gonna love it,
where Alan Batu is located, puts us within spitting distance of the USAT Liberty wreck, which, you know me, I'm a wreck diver at heart. That's my jam. That's what I love. And I particularly love historical shipwrecks. The USAT, which is United States Army Transport Vessel, Liberty, was actually built at the end of World War I and saw service as a transport ship between the wars, and then was sank during World War II by a Japanese torpedo. And then while it was being towed underway, it was taking on board too much water, and it was a threat to the vessels that were actually towing it. So it got beached on Bali, on the northeast coast of Bali, not far from the resort. And then volcanic eruptions and wave action actually dragged the wreck back into the ocean, and it now lies like super shallow to the top of the wreck, I think just 5 or 7 meters or something like that, down to about 27, 30 meters ish to the deepest part. So you've got a really nice profile of a wreck that's lying on a ledge, so to speak. And yeah, just a lovely piece of history. So I never got to dive that before, and I'm very excited for the chance to do that now. You stayed at Alan Batu before. What's your memories of diving Bali itself?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. That's like one of the things that I look forward to most is actually the diving in Bali, because I remember it from the many times I've been there, not just the year that I actually lived there, but also the visits afterwards, that it's just so diverse when it comes to the diving, especially that part on the northeastern coast where we're gonna be, simply because you've got your coral reefs, which are really pretty. You've got very vibrant colors. This is something that I really enjoy, with the black volcanic sand that is prominent on that side of the island, with all the volcanic activity that has been happening over the centuries there. And then you get those orange, green, yellow, blue colors in the corals, which make this just an incredible sight. So that's something really cool. At the same time, really just going a couple hundred meters up or down the beach or the coast, you can get to some really cool muck diving sites too. So you've got your coral reefs, you've got your muck dives, you've got the Liberty wreck, one of the, like, some people even argue that it's one of the best wrecks in the world. I wouldn't go this far, not in terms of being a wreck, but as an artificial reef, yes, I can see this being way in the top notch of all the wrecks that I have ever dived in my career, because it's just filled with life. It's been down there for over 100 years by now, so it's just covered in life, and it's just really, really pretty. And then you also get your big stuff, you know. Bali also has your turtles, your sharks. In certain places you might even be lucky enough to see mantas. Not really on that area where we are, but we have Komodo for that later on in the trip. But yeah, so the diving in Bali for me, really, really cool, because it offers such a wide variety of different types of diving that you can have in a very small geographical area, and that's what makes it really special to me. And then Bali itself, the people, the culture, the food, the island itself, it's just something that I've always really enjoyed, and it's the one thing that I really look forward to, just experiencing Bali once again, everything that it has to offer, because it's not just the diving. Bali really is an island that has so much more to offer, and that's what I'm really, really looking forward to as like one of my 3 points there on the list. Yeah. So
variety, basically, something for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And also, like our second spot, Komodo has a lot of variety to offer, but have you ever been? No, you've never been to Komodo, have you?
No, never been to Komodo. So definitely the dragons. That's my second point is, I was trying to find a way to get my parents to join us for maybe after we've done the liveaboard trip, because neither of my parents dive. Because it's been a lifelong dream of my father to see Komodo dragons in the wild. So you don't know this, Matthias, but my parents used to breed endangered reptiles as part of a breeding program for London Zoo. Particularly big snakes and this kind of stuff. They had a pet shop, and they used to actually were part of the London Zoo breeding program to help protect endangered reptiles. So, like, to see a Komodo dragon in the wild has always been on my dad's bucket list. It's not going to happen, sadly, this trip, but I want to see that too and take some epic photos on land. I know that's not diving related, and that's not what we're here to talk about, but just, you know, on a personal note, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. And then I hear, as with other parts of Indonesia, Komodo has some absolutely ripping currents, and you can do those kind of like, I want to say adrenaline, because I don't like associating adrenaline with scuba diving. If you're doing scuba diving well, you should be calm and chill and yoga-like. But it's also very fun when you get into a very strong drift dive and you're kind of at the mercy of the elements, and you're just flying along over the reef, and you're like, oh, we did half a mile in 30-minute dive and saw so much stuff just whizzing past. It's not great for photo and video, obviously, where, you know, you want nice, stable, static images, but it's really fun to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing if all those rumors of that strong current where you've got the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean in a constant tug of war. I'm looking forward to that. That's always a fun thing for me. And again, you've been to Komodo. You've been on the exact liveaboard that we're going on a while back, right?
I have actually, yes, and this was while I was actually working on Bali, and I had, some days off that I could combine into a longer period of time off, and that same liveaboard, the Mermaid 2 that we're going on to, had a special offer on for, last minute bookings, and like a couple of days before the departure, because I was already in Bali, I booked myself onto the trip and I went on to Komodo because back then it had been a lifelong dream of myself to go and see the Komodo dragons and dive their area, and it didn't disappoint at all. That's why I wanted to go back. But also, this was 14 years ago. Also, I want to see how this area has changed, whether or not it has changed. What I hear is still that it has world-class diving from anyone who's been there recently, and you can't imagine how many videos about Komodo I've watched in like the past couple of months just preparing for this trip. And all of the footage that I've seen is just incredible, stunning, and I can't wait to see it again with my own eyes. The Komodo dragons are certainly a big highlight, but then also the variety of dives that you can have. It's really cool that you get your really tropical diving up on the northern half of Komodo National Park, and then when you drop down to the south part of Komodo National Park, that's where the currents bring in colder, more nutrient-rich waters, and that's also where you get your larger animals, where you get your manta rays and all that sort of stuff, and around that area is where you get those currents from time to time too. So it's just really cool to be able to go back to one of these places and see how it has changed and see that again for myself. Again, really cool having the whole boat to ourselves this time. So it's a full charter, no one else is going to be on the boat. It's going to be a bit more flexible in terms of the schedule and everything, and I'm really looking forward to being on that boat with a bunch of really cool people, friends, and I can't wait for that second part of the trip too. So Komodo is definitely also one of the things that I'm looking forward to most on this trip. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So you touched on nutrient-rich waters in the south part of Komodo, and it is very much an island of two halves. Like you said, you've got the warm tropical stuff on the north side and the cooler nutrient-rich waters on the south side. Now, as you know, as we've talked about off camera, you let me down badly in the Philippines with no whale sharks. Am I going to see finally a whale shark on this trip to Indonesia?
Well, yeah. First of all, let me make sure that this was all my fault in the Philippines.
You promised.
I take full blame for that.
We can check tape.
Course I did.
We can check tape.
No, don't do that. So that's why I'm being a little more conservative this time. I'm not promising whale sharks. But there is a chance, probably not in Komodo National Park itself, but on the way there, because we'll be starting from Bali and the boat will take us in like a day and a half. It will take us to the Komodo National Park and we'll be diving along the way. There is one or two spots along the way where there is a decent chance of being able to snorkel or dive with whale sharks.
I mean, that's
I don't want to guarantee anything this time.
Yeah.
I don't want to guarantee anything because I don't want to have the same discussion. But there is a possibility. Yeah, for sure. There is a possibility to see whale sharks. And fingers crossed, and I wish it to you from the bottom of my heart that you finally get to see a whale shark on this trip. Finally. It would be an honor to be on. It'd be an honor to be on the trip that James sees his first whale shark.
I'll cry. I will cry. I will cry in my mask underwater.
Well, we'll cry together. We'll cry together.
I'll be so happy. So, yeah, I hope that happens, man.
Excellent.
I hope that happens.
I hope so too. Well, I'd be very happy to see whale sharks too. It's been a couple months since I saw my last whale shark, so I'm ready for the next one.
Unbelievable, this guy. Unbelievable. And something else as well, which is really cool, I think, and I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with me on this, is that the group of people we've got coming to Bali Komodo are going to be they're going to be fantastic. There's going to be that same magical gel that we had in the Philippines with our group, where everyone just got along. And I know this because a lot of the people that were with us in the Philippines are coming to the Bali Komodo trip, and then a few people who have contacted us by email and asked all the right questions, and some other people who are friends of mine have booked onto the trip who didn't come with us in the Philippines, who are very cool people. And I just think it's going to be, I'm like really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great group of people again, and we're going to have a ton of fun. We really are.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean, it just proves itself that the people that come onto these trips, they seem to just be the right type of people and get along very well. And as you said, it just works as a group very well. We've seen this in the past. And another thing that I'm actually very happy about is that Sebastian is finally gonna be able to join us on this trip.
Hey!
He was meant to be with us in the Philippines, couldn't make it because of business reasons with his real job, but this time there's no way out. Sebastian's coming to Bali and Komodo, and I'm really happy to take him there, because guess what? He has never been to Bali and Komodo.
Oh wow.
He's been to the Gili Islands, I think, but he's never been to Bali and Komodo.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to diving with Sebastian. That's gonna be a great time as well. Super nice guy.
Well, you tell me after you've dived with him. We have that discussion again.
Can he dive? Is he good?
Well, he might need like a one-on-one with you, but
he's going to sign up for a workshop. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
He's going to kill you when he sees this. You know that, right?
Workshop with you. I know. That's okay. That's okay. He knows how to take these kind of little side steps.
That's good.
That's all right.
I'm looking forward to that too. That's going to be awesome.
Me too. So the whale shark, if I get this correct, is like your third thing that you're really looking forward to? Like
absolutely.
The possibility of seeing whale sharks?
Yeah, what about yourself?
Well, I've also got one thing that I haven't ticked off my list in the Philippines, and that's the robust ghost pipefish that we couldn't find anywhere in the Philippines. And trust me, we've really looked. And we couldn't find it. We couldn't find it anywhere. But I know that at Alam Batu they have more than just one dive site where they have resident robust ghost pipefish, and I can't wait to see them again, say hello, and film them. So
what is the life cycle of a robust ghost pipefish? How long do they live for?
That is a very good question that I'm not prepared to answer.
Fair enough. I don't know either, so I'm not testing you. I literally don't know myself. But I was wondering if you're going to go back and see the same ones and be like, oh, hey, and they'll be like, hey, Matthias, I remember you.
Probably not, because last time I was there was about 2 or 3 years ago. I don't think they live for that long.
Yeah, most fish don't.
Surprised. Yeah, but I couldn't say for sure. So if there's any marine biologist or anyone watching or anyone who knows that, let us know in the comments. So we learned something as well from this episode today.
We like that. Buddy, it's going to be like a very short month now. I'm just training, and then packing my bags and joining you. Like I can't wait. It's so soon. It's so close. It's going to be really, really exciting.
I know. Remember how long we've been preparing for this trip, and
it takes a while.
I remember the first time we talked about where to go and how to set it up, and looked at the resorts and liveaboards and stuff. But I'm really happy that we getting finally to the departure date, and like you, I can't wait to get onto that airplane. This last month is just gonna fly by, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
And before we even know it, we'll be putting on our wetsuit and our mask and jumping into the house reef for a local dive site around Alam Batu, and it's gonna be fantastic. I'm really, really, really looking forward to this. And if you're booked onto that trip, then lucky you. We look very much forward to diving and exploring the Indonesian waters with you. If you are not, well, too bad, but I can pretty much guarantee you that this has not or will not be our last group trip. There will be more group trips coming, and as soon as we have the details, we will obviously share them with you here through our channel. So it's a good idea, if you haven't subscribed to James's or my channel, to do that right now. so you're not missing out on all these news that will come out whenever we're ready to share them with you, right?
Yeah, and I would add to that as well, like, it's lastminute.com, but we do have one female share left.
One.
At time of recording. So
One.
if you are a female willing to share with another female, that's the only space we have. Apart from that, we are completely sold out on this trip. But I will also go as far as to promise that when we get back from Indonesia, Matthias and I will be in a good place to announce our joint co-hosted 2025 destination. So no spoilers.
I would say so.
No spoilers. But the news will be coming down the pipe very, very soon. So yeah, definitely subscribe if you haven't done so already.
And it's gonna be a good one. Trust me, it's gonna be a good one. This is as much as we can say now. All right, so I think this kind of sums up our little preview of the upcoming group trip to Indonesia. Unless you have anything else you want to add to the points that we mentioned, James?
No, I think we're all good. So I'll say goodbye. Take care, everybody. Great. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for being... Yeah, thank you so much for being with us. Have an awesome time. If you're on the trip, we'll see you in Bali. If you're not, we'll see you somewhere else. Latest, hopefully, on our next episode of Across the Ocean. Have a great time. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Take care.